Viola struggled ashore, her dress soaking. Everywhere was broken waves and broken bits of wood, the remains of the ship she and her brother had been on. "Sebastian!" she cried, but her beloved twin did not answer. "He's not here," came a gruff voice. It was the ship's captain. "But I did see him clinging to the wreckage, so he may have survived." Viola blinked back her tears. "Where are we?" "Hillyra, Duke Orsino's country," the captain replied. "What should I do now?" Viola wondered. "Or perhaps the Duke can give me a job. Oh, but he's more likely to hire a man. Oh, I know. I disguised myself as a boy and called myself Cesario." With the ship's captain's help, Viola was on her way. At his palace, Duke Orsino was listening to love songs, and he was dreaming about Lady Olivia. He was hopelessly in love with her, but she had refused to see him since her brother, the Count, had died. "Oh, what a heart," the Duke wondered, "to love a brother so much. If only I can make her love me. I need a messenger," he decided, "someone she won't refuse to see." Just then, Viola came in, dressed as Cesario. The Duke took one look at his face and hired him on the spot. The next 3 days, the Duke told his new messenger all about Olivia and how much he loved her. Viola listened dreamingly. How can a woman refuse such a man? She wondered. "I need you to go and see Olivia for me, Cesario," the Duke finally asked. "She's bound to listen to you." Viola bit her lip and nodded. She thought her heart would break, for only in 3 days she had fallen in love with the Duke herself. Olivia's house was in uproar. Sir Toby, Olivia's uncle, was making merry all night with his friends, Sir Andrew and Feste the jester. "Olivia's very cross with you all," warned Maria the maid. "Oh, here she comes now with Malvolio, that snobby steward of hers." "Greetings, lady," said Feste the jester. "Take away the fool," Olivia sighed. "Yes, take her away," Feste said boldly, pointing at Olivia. "I said take the fool away," commanded Olivia. "That's what I said, take her away." "Let me explain. Why do you mourn, lady?" "For my brother, fool." "Is he in hell, lady?" "No, he's in heaven, fool." "Then more fool you to mourn over your brother being in heaven." Despite herself, Olivia smiled. Malvolio sniffed disapprovingly. There was a knock at the door. It was Viola, dressed as Cesario. She bowed to Olivia. "I've come to tell you about Duke Orsino's love." Yes, I know," Olivia yawned. "I've heard it all before. He loves me with thunderous roars and sighs of fire," insisted Viola. "But I don't love him," Olivia interrupted, shrugging. "If I was Orsino, I wouldn't give up so easily," said Viola. "Why? What would you do?" asked Olivia. "Why, I'd build a willow cabin outside your gate, and I'd call upon you every day. I'd sing sad love songs all night and cry out your name. You wouldn't rest until you pitied me." Olivia gazed at the messenger's pretty face. "Tell Duke Orsino I cannot love him, and then come back to tell me how he takes it," she added hastily. After Cesario had left, she couldn't stop thinking about him. Have I fallen in love? She wondered. On Viola's part, she was worried about Olivia. Poor lady, I think she's fallen for my disguise. And with my master in love with her and I'm in love with him, what shall become of this? Back at the palace, the talk was all about love. I've been in love too, Viola told the Duke. What was your loved one like? He asked. Viola blushed. A lot like you, she blurted. Duke Orsino laughed. If only Olivia shared your same taste. But women don't feel things as strongly as us men. That's not true, Viola said hotly. My father's daughter was in love with a man, and she couldn't tell him, and her feelings ate away at her like a worm in a bud. The Duke listened thoughtfully. This boy really understands love, he said to himself. If only I could find a girl like him. Later that night, Sir Toby and Sir Andrew were in a very jolly good mood. They shouted for Maria for more ale and for Festi to play another song. Soon they were singing very loudly and very out of tune. Are you crazy? Came an angry voice. It was Malvolio in his nightgown. Do you know how late it is? You can't stop us, splurted Toby. I'm going to tell Olivia about this, he snarled, stalking off, and Toby raised a fist after him. Maria laid her hand on Toby's arm. I know how to get Malvolio back. I'll fake a love letter from Olivia and let him find it. He's so vain, he'll think she's in love with him. The next morning, Maria, Festi and Sir Toby hid in the bush to watch Malvolio. Malvolio was talking out loud. I know Olivia admires me. If she marries me, I'll be richer than Toby. You rogue, splurted Toby. Wait a minute, Malvolio went on, spotting the letter. He reads it. To my beloved M. I'm in love. If you are reading this, don't be afraid. I may be your lady, but when we are married, you will be my lord. And don't forget to wear your yellow stockings and glass garters. You know I adore them. My lady. I will. Malvolio was so excited, he didn't hear the noises coming from the bush, the sounds of laughter. There was a loud rat-a-tat at Olivia's front door. Hello? Is anyone there? It was Viola. Cesario, is that you? Olivia heard the voice and came running. Viola bowed. I've come to tell you about Orsino's love. Stop! Commanded Olivia. I don't want to hear about him. You see, I've come to realize I'm in love with you, Cesario. Viola shook her head. I can never marry a woman. Oh, but please think about it anyway, begged Olivia. And please come back soon. Down by the seashore, two men were talking. One was a sailor named Antonio. The other was the double of Cesario. It was Sebastian, Viola's twin brother. I owe you my life, Sebastian was saying. If your ship hadn't found me, I was happy to help you, said Antonio. And I go with you now to see the town, but I must stay out of sight. My city is at war with Duke Orsino. If I'm found here, I'll be arrested. He then got out a jingling bag. Here, take my purse. You may need money. You can give it back to me tonight in our inn. Sebastian hesitated and accepted gratefully. Until tonight, he called as he set off. Olivia was sadly thinking about Cesario when Malvolio walked in. "Sweet lady," he simpered. "Ho, ho," waggling a yellow-stockinged, cross-garter leg at her. "What's the matter with you, Malvolio?" gasped Olivia. "Why, nothing," he answered. "These garters are a bit tight, but that doesn't matter at all if you like them." Malvolio then tried to kiss Olivia's hand. Olivia snatched her hand away and ran out of the room, straight into Maria, Toby and Fessy, who had been listening at the door. "Go and look after Malvolio," she ordered. "He needs help." The three plotters tried to look very serious. "We're called for a doctor, and while we're waiting for him to arrive, we'll put Malvolio into a dark room," Toby promised, with a glint in his eye. "Oh, for his own safety, of course." One plot wasn't enough for Sir Toby. He and Fessy were already arranging another one, a duel between Sir Andrew and Cesario. "It should be quite a sight," chuckled Toby. "The two most timid men in an era." He went to go and find Cesario. "You better watch out for Sir Andrew," he warned. "He wants to fight a duel with you. He's already killed 3 men. Viola turned pale. Meanwhile, Fessy was talking to Sir Andrew. "Cesario can't wait to fight you," he said. "He's skilled with a sword." Sir Andrew trembled. Toby and Fessy were pushing the reluctant fighters at each other when the sailor Antonio walked past. He took one look at Viola, drew his sword and jumped to her defence. All the noise brought 2 officers running. They grabbed Antonio. "You're under arrest," they shouted. Before Antonio was dragged off, he turned to Viola. "I'm sorry, my friend, but I need my purse." "What purse?" said Viola. "You refuse? After all I've done for you?" cried Antonio. "What? I've never seen you in my life!" exclaimed Viola. Antonio was dragged off by the officers, leaving Viola puzzled about his words. Could this mean... Oh, is Sebastian still alive? Sebastian didn't find the town just as he expected. Every stranger was acting like they knew him. "So your name's not Cesario," said a jester. "Well, my name's not Fessy, and this ain't my nose." "Oh, here's a coin," Sebastian finally said. "Now go away." As soon as someone left, another 2 appeared, Sir Andrew and Sir Toby. "Cesario, there's for you," squealed Sir Andrew, his fist flaying, coming towards Sebastian. Sebastian, bewildered, was forced to defend himself. "And there's for you, and there," he cried as he fought Sir Andrew back. Then Sir Toby joined the fight. "Stop!" Olivia cried, coming towards them. "Are you hurt?" she begged Sebastian, who shook his head wordlessly. "Get out of my sight, Toby and Andrew," she demanded. She then lent out her hand. "Dear Cesario, let me take you home." Sebastian blinked in confusion. "Am I crazy?" he thought, "or am I in a dream?" Olivia was so beautiful and determined to help. He thought it'd be all right. "I'll come," he agreed. Since Olivia stopped Sir Toby's fun, he went to go and see Malvolio. His old enemy was locked up in the cellar, and Fessy was taunting him. "Hello, ho!" Fessy said in a strange, gruff voice. "I'm Dr. Topaz, and I've come to see Malvolio the lunatic." Sniffed back Toby as he laughed. "Oh, please, Dr. Topaz, I'm not a lunatic," pleaded Malvolio. "I've been tricked and locked up in this dark place." "The only darkness is ignorance," the doctor said. sternly. "And you shall stay in the dark until you see the lights." Then Festy started singing in his normal voice. "Hey, jolly, jolly Robin, oh!" cried Malvolio. "Is that you? Oh, please bring me a pen and paper so I can write a letter to Olivia." Toby sighed. "I suppose we better let him write. I don't want him in any more trouble with Olivia." Back upstairs, alone in Olivia's room, Sebastian pinched himself. He couldn't believe it. Olivia was so beautiful and obviously a great lady, but he'd only just met her and she already wanted to marry him. What should I do? He wondered. I'd ask Antonio, but I don't know where he is. Then Olivia came back with a loving smile and said, "Oh, the priest will marry us," she said softly. Sebastian then stared at her shining eyes, took a deep breath and decided, "I'll do it." A few hours later, Duke Orsino and Viola were going to see Olivia. Outside her house, they bumped into the officers who were leading Antonio. "That's the man who helped me when I was being attacked," said Viola. The Duke frowned. "I recognize him. He's an enemy of Alira." He turns to Antonio. "What brings you here?" "That boy by your side," Antonio replied bitterly. "I rescued him from the sea. I risked my own life saving him. We came ashore yesterday. I gave him my purse, I get arrested, and he pretends not to know me." The Duke shook his head. "You're crazy," he said curtly. "This boy has been in my service long before yesterday." "Cesario, I leave for a minute and you wander off," cried Olivia, dashing from the house. She put her arms around Viola, who was dodging behind Orsino. "Madam, I am the Duke's servant, not yours." "But you're my husband," wailed Olivia. "You belong by my side, not Orsino's." The Duke's face darkened. "Husband?" he growled. "No, not me," begged Viola. "Oh, don't be afraid," Olivia whispered. "The priest can vouch for us." "Yes, it's true," the old priest nodded as he came. "They swore everlasting love and exchanged rings just 2 hours ago." The Duke looked horrified. "I thought you loved me, but you lied," the Duke said to his serving boy. "Go! Get out of my sight! I never want to see you again." "Oh, no, Lord, no!" gasped Viola. Before she could finish, there was a shriek. "Eee!" And Sir Andrew appeared. "Quick, fetch a doctor! That maniac Cesario has attacked Toby! Eee! Here he comes!" Sebastian was following Sir Andrew and knelt before Olivia. "Forgive me, my love, for attacking your uncle," he said. "But I was defending myself and he's not that hurt. Why are you staring at me like that?" "There's 2 of them," the Duke exclaimed, looking from twin to twin. "Oh, how wonderful," sighed Olivia. "Sebastian, is that you?" "Antonio!" Sebastian smiled at his friend. "I've been so worried." Antonio points to Viola. "Then who are you?" Only then did Sebastian turn and notice the strange familiar figure. He stared in wonder. "I've never had a brother," he said slowly. "I had a sister who was lost at sea." Viola smiled. "I had a brother who looked just like you, and I thought he was lost too." "If you were a woman, I'd say welcome, Viola," said Sebastian. Then Viola took off her cap and let down her hair. With a scream of joy, Sebastian screamed and hugged Viola. He turned to Olivia. "I may not be who you thought, but seems things have turned out for the best." "Yes, definitely," said Olivia, holding his hand. The Duke turned to Viola. You once said you loved me. Yes, Viola breathed. On my part, I've always longed for a girl like you, and now I've found her. Viola, will you marry me? Oh, yes, said Viola, bursting with happiness. Oh, 2 weddings to celebrate, Olivia said happily. We must start making arrangements. Malvolio can... Oh no, he is ill. Coughed Festi. Retchy, m'lady. He's all right now, and he writes you this. Olivia looks at the note the Festi had given her, and she reads, Madam, you wrong me. I am not crazy. I was only following your letter. Malvolio. Fetch him at once, she said. Malvolio came, pale and angry, shaking the love letter.
Madam, why did you send me this?
Olivia said, I never wrote this. Startled, this is not my handwriting. This is Maria's. Don't blame Maria, Festi added quickly. Toby and I are just to blame. An old quarrel spoil an happy hour. There's 3 weddings to celebrate now. Maria and Toby are getting married too. Yes, we must make peace, said the Duke. And to prove it, I forgive Antonio. Now let's make these arrangements. Excitedly, they all wandered into Olivia's house until only Festi was left. When he was alone, he began to sing. When the world began with a hi-ho, the wind and the rain, but that's all one and the play it's done, and we strive to please you every day. With a bow, Festi follows the others into the house.